You're doing so good.
I just want to say, everyone will suffer. Do you remember where it is?
An after party tonight?
I'm literally shaking as I tell you this. According to these explosive new FBI reports, these two supposedly manipulated actress Daveigh Chase, yes, the terrifying Samara from The Ring, into some seriously questionable behind-the-scenes dealings at their hush-hush special parties. The details I'm about to share are absolutely wild. The connections are messier than a Hollywood divorce, and I promise you are not ready for what's coming next. Listen up, because this story is absolutely insane. So Daveigh Chase, born on July 24th, 1990 in Las Vegas, of all places, was practically destined to be in the spotlight from day one. Growing up in Oregon, this girl had that undeniable star quality that just couldn't be contained. By the time she was just 7 years old, 7, can you believe it? She was already out there hustling at auditions. Now sure, her parents were definitely the ones pushing her toward that Hollywood dream, but let's be real here. Daveigh had that natural fire in her too. She started small, doing those adorable commercials and local theater shows, having no idea that destiny was about to come knocking at her door. The moment she started auditioning in LA, honey, it was game on.
What are we gonna do?
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 And then, oh my goodness, things just exploded for her. She dove right into voice acting for animated shows, and here's the part that still blows my mind. She became the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. I mean, seriously, she was such a huge deal back then. Can you even imagine if we'd had Instagram and TikTok back in those days? Her name would still be trending every other week. But wait, there's more. Daveigh wasn't just content being a voice actress. This girl was determined to show everyone just how versatile she could be. She started popping up everywhere, darling. We're talking shows like Charmed and ER, proving she could hold her own with the big dogs in live action. But her real breakthrough? That came in 2001 when she landed that incredible role in Donnie Darko as Samantha Darko. Let me tell you, that movie became such a cult classic, and her performance, absolutely perfect. She even came back to reprise the role in 2009, but we need to talk about what happened in 2002 because that's when everything changed. At just 12 years old, 12, she gave us that bone-chilling performance in The Ring as Samara. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. Her portrayal was so haunting, so mesmerizing that she instantly became an icon in horror cinema. I mean, you literally cannot think about scary movies from that era without her face popping into your head. Even though she was so young, her talent had everyone talking, and honestly, had little me hiding under my blankets. Over the next few years, Daveigh was absolutely unstoppable. She kept reinventing herself, trying different roles, and even dipped her toes into the music scene. She was giving us total Hollywood powerhouse vibes, and we were all here for it. She came back to revisit her Donnie Darko role in 2009, but then things got weirdly quiet, like suspiciously quiet. It wasn't until 2016 that she resurfaced in American Romance, this low-budget thriller about a serial killer. But oh honey, the critics were not kind. They basically ripped it to shreds, calling it dull and downright disgusting. Sadly, that turned out to be Daveigh's last major leading role, and since then, radio silence from Hollywood. It really makes you wonder if she quietly walked away from the spotlight altogether. Though, let's be honest, making it as far as she did after starting as a child star, that's already more than most people achieve in this cutthroat industry. But now Daveigh's name is back in the headlines, and trust me, it's not for anything good. It's all tied up in this absolutely messy situation with Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. There's this absolutely shocking video that's resurfaced from the 2003 MTV Music Awards, and I literally gasped when I saw it. Picture this. Diddy, yes, that Diddy, is caught on camera inviting a 13-year-old Daveigh to an after party. And honey, when I say party, we all know what kind of parties we're talking about these days when Diddy's name comes up. In the clip, Diddy approaches Daveigh right after she wins Best Villain for The Ring and so casually, like he's asking about the weather, invites her to an after party. Now back then, maybe people thought it was just innocent fun, but knowing what we know now about the allegations against Diddy, including that absolutely horrifying lawsuit claiming he assaulted a 13-year-old girl just 3 years before this incident, it puts everything in a completely different light. I mean, can we just take a moment to process this? If Daveigh did end up at that party, what in the world could have happened? The whole situation is beyond disturbing, and now that Diddy's legal troubles are piling up faster than designer shoes in a Kardashian closet, this old video hits different. Social media is absolutely exploding with reactions, and people are beyond disgusted. They're calling the whole interaction sick and inappropriate, and honestly, they're right. Like, what kind of grown man gets excited about inviting a literal child to an after party? The comments are getting more intense by the minute. One person wrote, "WTF, who asks a 13-year-old to an after party?" And don't even get me started on what they're saying about Ashton. People are convinced he's got this whole Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, like the clean-cut guy with a dark side psycho type. Now, Daveigh was such a phenomenal actress with this incredible list of roles under her belt, and everyone's just praying she was somehow protected from whatever might have happened that night. Here's the thing that's driving everyone crazy. Daveigh's an adult now, but she hasn't said a word about this video or anything about her experiences with Diddy. But honestly, the creepy vibes from that invitation have everyone taking a closer look at Hollywood party culture, especially how they treated young stars back then. Let me paint you a picture of these influencer and celeb-adjacent events. They can go from glamorous to sketchy faster than you can say #blessed. We've all seen those parties where minors show up with their parents, and it's just uncomfortable. Like, sure, mom's standing in the corner nursing her champagne, but something still feels off about the whole situation, and that's with a chaperone. Now imagine these Hollywood parties where some moms might be too busy rubbing elbows with the A-listers to keep an eye on their teenage kids. That's exactly the kind of energy this Diddy video is giving off. It's absolutely mind-blowing that this whole thing played out on national television and nobody even blinked. And now that we know what allegedly went down at Diddy's after parties, the whole thing feels even more sinister. People are rightfully outraged, especially considering how young and vulnerable Daveigh was. But hold on to your seats, because Diddy isn't the only one people are side-eyeing. Ashton's getting dragged into this mess too. The comment sections are absolutely flooding with people demanding investigations. Not only Diddy, but they should investigate Ashton too. And let me tell you why. Ashton Kutcher has become controversy central with these guys. He's been catching heat from every direction, especially after this old interview resurfaced where he's practically gushing about Diddy's parties, saying they were the best of his life, while being super cryptic about what actually happened there. And get this, apparently guests had to sign NDAs that prevented them from talking until 20 years after Diddy dies. Like, what in the world could be happening at these parties that needs that kind of secrecy? Ashton's messy history isn't doing him any favors either. People are furious about how he, at 19, sissed a 14-year-old Mila Kunis on set without consent because Danny Masterson bet him $20. And don't even get me started on that cringeworthy video where he's talking about Hilary Duff and the Olsen twins turning 18.
Freak0ff is in Lizzie McGuire. She also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins. Any 15-year-old.
Speaking of Hilary Duff, now Ashton's name is getting dragged into this whole resurfaced drama about Diddy inviting a 12-year-old Daveigh Chase to his parties. The connection is absolutely wild, but let's switch gears because Daveigh's own story will break your heart. After her career started slowing down and that American romance movie flopped harder than a fish out of water, things really started spiraling. By 2017, her life was completely unraveling. In August, she got arrested for drug possession, which was just the tip of the iceberg. Then November came around and things got even darker when she was questioned about a man's death. Though she wasn't charged for that, she still got arrested on an unrelated warrant. And then there's the joyriding incident, because apparently that's still a thing people do. She got slapped with a felony charge for taking someone's car without permission. Like, girl, what is happening? The hits just kept coming in 2018. More possession charges, skipping court dates, leading to even more arrest warrants. It's absolutely heartbreaking to see how far she's fallen, from being this incredible child star in major movies to this devastating spiral of legal troubles. You can't help but wonder what was really going on behind those perfectly polished Hollywood scenes all those years. Daveigh's story is it's gut-wrenching. The girl clearly needed rehabilitation and support, not jail time. Since all this drama went down, she's completely vanished from the public eye. No red carpets, no paparazzi shots, and her social media has been dead silent since 2017. It's like she just disappeared. The whole situation really shines a spotlight on how dangerous fame can be for young stars. Hollywood's track record with protecting child actors is questionable at best, and Daveigh's story is just another tragic example of how things can go terribly wrong. Think about it. She was working nonstop as a child, and when the roles started drying up, reality hit her like a ton of bricks. One minute you're famous, the next you're forgotten. It's such a brutal cycle. Now get this. Someone recently reached out on Instagram claiming they were friends with Daveigh and had all this juicy inside information about what's been happening with her. They were all, "Oh, I have these explosive details, let's talk." But then, complete silence. Nothing. The most recent footage we've seen of her is absolutely heartbreaking. She clearly didn't want to be filmed, and you can tell she's struggling. People really need to learn to respect boundaries, especially when someone's obviously going through a difficult time. Seeing her like that just hits different. It makes you wonder, was she so consumed by the demands of being a child star that she never got the chance to actually grow up normally? No regular school experience, no normal friendships, no time to figure out who she really was beyond the roles she played. That kind of environment can seriously mess with your development. And when the fame fades, you're left trying to navigate life without any of the basic tools most of us take for granted. Addiction is already such a complex issue, but when you add in the child star factor, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. If Daveigh ever decides to tell her story, it would be incredibly powerful. Can you imagine the insights she could share about what really goes on behind those Hollywood gates? Wherever she is now, we can only hope she's okay. And maybe, just maybe, one day she'll feel ready to share her side of what really happened. Now, about Diddy and Ashton. Things are looking pretty grim for both of them, but especially Diddy. While Ashton's catching heat for his past comments and actions, like that super cringy interview praising Diddy's infamous parties, his controversies look like small potatoes compared to what Diddy's dealing with right now. Diddy is absolutely drowning in lawsuits and allegations that paint this horrifyingly dark picture. We're talking accusations of abuse, exploitation, and these infamous parties where NDAs lock down secrets tighter than Fort Knox. His reputation isn't just taking hits, it's completely unraveling at the seams. The sheer number of lawsuits and the severity of these claims make it crystal clear that Diddy isn't just facing some PR nightmare. This is a full-blown legal tsunami that could completely destroy his entire legacy. If even a fraction of these allegations turn out to be true, we're not just talking about the end of his career, we could be looking at serious jail time. The consequences could be absolutely massive, not just for his public image, but potentially for his freedom too. What do you think? Is Diddy going to end up behind bars for life? And was Daveigh really at one of his notorious parties? Drop your thoughts down in the comments section, and don't forget to check out this video too.